Namaste to each and every one of you. Welcome to another video about knowing or the process of knowing. And the first quotation is very simple and powerful message by Osho. When knowing is possible, why settle for believing? This quotation actually represents a much wider observation by many other great men and women. Is on the tendency or habit of believing something without knowing it. Origin of belief is in certain kind of teachings, is laziness in learning, and a numb mind, unquestioning mind. So to avoid all those qualities in you that would make you a more intelligent person, many people avoid that and say, okay, they will believe it. What they are told, what they are prescribed, they will believe. And that's the end of the journey. Without understanding what they believe, without knowing why they believe, just believe. And the journey stops. When you explore, you understand, you question, you discuss, you contemplate, you reflect upon it, sleep over it, examine it, that is intellectual process of growth. So a very simple but very powerful message. When knowing is possible, why settle for believing? Another perspective on which light is thrown by Nisargadatta Maharaj. There is no such thing as not knowing. Here the hint is that not knowing is not possible. You already know a lot of things, you are born with it, you grow into it. Nature knows everything, you are part of nature. So theoretically, everyone should be knowing everything. But that is not the case. So in reality, there is no such thing as not knowing. That's what this quotation says. And the second part is, there is only forgetting. There is no such thing as not knowing, there is only forgetting. So the process of forgetting begins from childhood. As a young infant, 2-3 years, children are said to know everything, even from past life if they had one, or many past lives. And everything is fresh and new. They haven't formed an opinion. They are not born with belief. They are not born with any teachings. They intuitively, by observation, they know the color, form and shape and sound and familiar sounds and unfamiliar sounds and their own needs. They are free and knowing, not verbalizing, not articulating. So as they grow up, 4 or 5 years old, they begin to forgetting that innocent knowledge, and they form ideas and opinions. So that is where the forgetting begins. And another kind of forgetting is forgetting we are what we are. But we imagine we are something else, somebody else. We develop ego, we form a personality and try to protect it. We forgot who we are. We have created an artificial self. That's what we live and project. So it's a very poignant point. There is no such thing as not knowing, there is only forgetting. This quotation is from Prophet Muhammad. Moderate spending is half the earning. Making good friends is half the wisdom. And asking good questions is half the knowing. So there are three aspects. One is, if you spend everything you earn, there is no saving. But if you spend less than what you earn, there is saving. So moderate spending is half the earning, because what you save, you can use it for other purposes. Secondly, making good friends is half the wisdom. If good friends were well-mannered, intelligent, good habits, enjoying music, reading, discussion, traveling on adventures in nature, from those kind of friends, you learn wisdom. You like to become as they are. And if you are already having those qualities, then other friends will seek you and begin to learn from you, and you both learn from one another, to each other. And the final stage is, good questions is half the knowing. So if you have an inquisitive mind, if you want to observe, or you have the nature, by nature you are observant, you look at things more deeply with focus, you are inquiring mind and exploring attitude, that is half the knowing, because without that, knowing does not begin. Sitting idle, not making an effort to explore and learn and grow, is the end, or not even beginning of learning. So asking good questions is half the knowing. So moderate spending is half the earning, making good friends is half the wisdom, and asking good questions is half the knowing. The last one on knowing is about Osho. Knowledge is always of the past. Knowing is always here and now. Knowing is alive. Knowledge is dead. Knowledge must cease for the knowing to be. So this distinction between knowledge and knowing, first of all, knowledge is a static situation. You have certain degree of knowledge, and that is about it. Knowing is a process of continuous enhancement of knowledge. Knowing doesn't end. If you have known enough about certain subject, there are other subjects related to that, so you begin to know that. So knowing is what is happening now. There is lots of things around you that you do not know. You have some knowledge from the past. You cannot use that to understand and interpret what is happening now, because every time, every moment, there is something new happening. How would you know if you rely only on fixed knowledge of the past. It's like Osho also used to say that there is no such thing as river, it is rivering, which is the process is happening now. It's not a river fixed, because the moment you say this is a river, that part of the river is gone and new waters and new waves have come. So it's a very interesting, flowing and dynamic way to look at things as a verb rather than a noun. Knowledge is always of the past, knowing is always here and now. Knowledge is of the past, knowing is now. Knowing is alive, knowledge is dead. Knowledge must cease for knowing to be. Now the last point, knowledge must cease for knowing to be. It's not that you destroy the past knowledge, especially if it is valid. It remains where it is, but it should not continue to occupy you or control you. For knowing to be, you come out and move beyond and above the knowledge. That's what I think is meant here. Knowledge must cease for knowing to begin. So I'll read one more time. Knowledge is always of the past, knowing is always here and now. Knowing is alive, knowledge is dead. Knowledge must cease for knowing to be. Thank you for watching, and we'll meet again soon.